Are you the quantum mechanics?
Yes, we are the Quantum Mechanics, the paranormal podcast for the believers, the doubters, and everybody in between.
We are indeed. Anything paranormal this week? I've been nothing for me.
No, because we're a week ahead of time, I've been doing Easter stuff, but I have seen no actual live bunnies. The most paranormal thing I think I've done is spent some money on an Easter egg, and now I can't afford my house. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have to give up some of your body parts to alien research in order to be able to afford your mortgage.
That's why I look a little bleary-eyed. I sold my liver on the way over.
Fair enough.
I put it on eBay and they'd won the bids, but yeah.
Yeah, that's coming back to you, I feel it.
It is, good Lord.
Well, we were saying last week, the last couple of episodes, we've gone a bit dark and scary, haven't we?
Yeah, I was particularly dark last week.
Yeah, because I had that one about Ted Owens using his psychokinetic powers. He wreaked death and destruction. You had alien entities halving us for blood and body parts. So this week...
Keep it light, guys.
Yeah, I've been on a journey to find, I don't know how to describe it, a brighter side to the paranormal, at least one that we've not been covering the last couple of weeks.
So does anybody die?
Yeah, no, well... there is one death, but it's very
it's
slight.
Needed.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I was thinking, surely not all ghosts and paranormal entities or alien entities are just out there to scare and harm us, right?
No. I mean, we've covered lots where there's been nice messages and healing and all sorts, yeah. Well,
I went on my search for uplifting ghost stories, and it wasn't an easy one, Ben. I started with a Google search and then an AI search. Do you want to know my criteria? I thought it was reasonably clear. I asked for true paranormal stories that are humorous and or uplifting.
Okay. I bet you didn't get a single one.
Well, my research brought back the opposite, really. The top 3 links were 25 real-life ghost stories that will terrify you, followed by 30 times people thought they were being paranoid, only to face real terror.
Brilliant.
And then 11 real-life scary stories that will make you sleep with the lights on.
Excellent. Perfect. The excellent result to what you asked for.
Yeah, so it wasn't really what I was after. If AI proved a little bit better... but as we know, AI has a tendency to try and please you, let's say, hallucinate. Yeah. And, well, it didn't have any sources that I could check. So there was lots of hallucination, and it was like, oh, that sounds like a good story. Could I find it anywhere? No. And, yeah, when I check sources, it would kind of go, oh, I can't provide that, or, you know the score.
I know the drill, yeah.
So I decided to change tack and started thinking about entities that are helpful to humans, which led me to the folklore around a very helpful creature called the Brownie.
Ah, I love brownies.
Yeah. Now, we have talked about these, I don't know, what would you call them, industrious paranormal entities, generally from Scottish and English folklore. We've talked about them before on the podcast. And, yeah, I've never thought about trying to summon a spirit to my home, but when it comes to a brownie, I have to say I am tempted.
Yeah, they... I suppose they're from the fairy realm, is that right?
Well, that is one view.
Okay.
I'm going to give you some other views in a minute. But first, Ben, shall we do a summary of brownies? They're not really random facts, but because you need to hit the bed that says random facts, I'm going to say they're random facts. Brownies are small, nocturnal household spirits that perform chores while the family sleeps. They're incredibly picky, proud, and can be dangerous if offended. Well, that was good timing. They commonly vanish forever if gifted clothes, criticised, or directly thanked, often turning into malevolent boggarts that destroy homes.
Right. So that's probably where the idea of giving a house elf socks. You're right, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
We're going to come on to the similarities between the brownie and the house elf in a minute.
Okay.
Now, while they accept offerings of food, if it's framed as paying them for their work, they consider it an insult.
Aha, okay.
They only work for gratitude and will leave if they feel they are being treated as paid servants.
Oh, that makes sense, yeah.
Now, if a human watches them, mocks them, or complains about their work, they might fly into a rage, destroying everything they've previously cleaned.
Yeah, I know people like that.
They work at night and are rarely seen by mortal eyes. They live in hiding spots within the house, such as behind the walls, in barns, often hiding behind your cooker, where it's warm. I think that probably goes back more to the days where you had those Argo-like cookers that were on all the time. Generally, Ben, if you abide by their code, they're one of the most useful paranormal entities to encounter. If you are thinking that Brownie folklore sounds something like Harry Potter, as you just mentioned, Ben, you might be right. I don't think J.K. Rowling has definitively said that she got the folklore from Brownies, but it seems pretty clear it was influenced by the legend of Brownie folklore, and Dobby the house elf in particular. Brownies, like house elves, are spirits that perform chores like cleaning, cooking, typically unseen when others are asleep, so that kind of ties in.
Yeah.
Other parts of the folklore that seem to have made its way into Harry Potter lore is the giving of clothes, as you mentioned. In folklore, giving a brownie a gift of clothing, especially a new suit or shirt, I mean, that's going to town, isn't it? I have a new suit. It causes them to leave the household forever. So it's not like they're enslaved in Harry Potter. They take it as an insult and just go.
How would you know what size to give them?
Well, that is a really
Suits are notoriously hard to fit.
Yeah, that's true. Although we've seen that, haven't we? With there's that whole thing around Donald Trump at the moment giving all his cabinet his favourite shoes, but he didn't know their sizes.
Oh, yeah.
So he's guessed. Have you seen those photos?
Yes,
They're huge. Yeah, maybe that's how they get round it, in an oversized suit. In terms of appearance, traditional brownies are described as small, wizened, sometimes hairy, and frequently dressed in rags. Again, that sounds very similar.
That is very similar, yeah.
And that connection in folklore with brownies and the boggarts. I mean, in legends, a brownie that's mistreated or offended can turn into a malevolent boggart. I guess in the Harry Potter universe, they're portrayed more as separate entities. There's no direct connection, but there is that, that it seems that that's been an influence as well.
You get a boggart and your milk goes sour.
There you go. Even the name of the most famous house elf in Harry Potter seems to have been influenced by the brownie.
Oh, really?
Yes, in Yorkshire folklore, Dobby was a common regional name for a brownie.
Oh, I did not know that. That's very interesting.
It is interesting, isn't it? And elsewhere, they are often named Master Dobbs. I don't know where the Dobbs come from, sort of Dobby, but yeah. In folklore, they are mostly male. They are secretive, come out at night to get on with their household chores while everyone sleeps. Now, you were talking about their kind of theory of the origins of the brownie backstory. So, yes, they are sometimes described as a kind of fairy folk. Mm-hmm. They're sometimes described as nature spirits who decide to help humans. And some theories suggest they are the ghosts of your ancestors who stayed in this world to help the families.
Okay, like a spiritual thing. Okay. Bit weird if your gran comes back as a small, hairy, knobbly creature wearing rags.
Yeah, so I think some of the theories, they're supposed to be an amalgamation of all your ancestors in some way.
Oh, okay.
But you're onto a good thread, which I'm going to come on to later. Do you want to know what they eat, Ben?
I'm going to... Can I guess?
You can guess.
Knowing how these things work, I bet it is butter, milk, and chocolate, probably.
Pretty close, apart from the chocolate, because I guess there wasn't much chocolate around in the ye olde days. Yeah, fresh cream or milk, fond of honey, or porridge with honey and butter.
Right, yeah.
So you're right. This one I didn't know. They also enjoy a scone, or a scone, depending on how you say it, with beer after a hard shift working around the house.
Oh,
That's how they relax. I like that combo.
I prefer a cheese scone with beer, though.
Yeah, that is true. Oh, it doesn't say which one it is, so maybe it is a cheese scone.
Cheese scone, yeah.
Yeah. This idea of a spirit that helps with household chores is not just limited to Britain. In Germany, you have the kobolds, though they can be a little more vicious than their British cousins, Ben. So this is the only death we've got in this episode. There is the tale of a kitchen boy who accidentally splashed a kobold with dirty dishwater. So the entity chopped him up and cooked him in a pot.
chopped him up, did he?
Yep, chopped him up, cooked him in a pot.
That seems to be...
Didn't say whether he ate him or not, or just cooked him.
I reckon that entity needs some HRT.
Yeah, really.
But the Germanic idea of these house helpers, that reminds me of the story of the shoemaker and the elves. So in that story, if I remember rightly, the shoemaker is so poor he can only afford to buy one piece of leather or something, and then overnight the elves make the most fantastic pair of shoes, and he then can afford to buy 2 pieces of leather. It's kind of like
right.
They help him become more successful in business.
Yeah, I remember that story. Yeah, that legend. Well, in Russia, we have the Donovio. They are also known as the old man of the house. These are the ones, these are like the other theory we talked about. They're said to come from the combined souls of family ancestors. Unlike brownies, they will accept and appreciate being given clothes. And they won't leave the family if you do. I guess if you got to get through a harsh Russian winter, you can't really be that fussy and turn down clothes, can you?
No.
So maybe that's where that's come from. In Sweden and other parts of Scandinavia, we have the, I don't know how to say this, the tomte, Tomte. I think we've mentioned them before.
I was going to say that sounds familiar.
Yeah, because maybe in one of our Christmas episodes, because they like porridge on Christmas Eve. I think with Russia.
Yeah, that's right, yes.
Yeah, that's how you thank them for the hard work that they've done. I'm sure there's another part to that story that if you don't give it to them on Christmas Eve, something bad happens.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. In Japan, we have household spirits called Zashi Iki Washrahi. Again, they're best not to upset these spirits, Ben, as they will leave, but on their way out the door, they might give you food poisoning before they go.
How are they going to do that then?
I don't know. Some mouldy butter that they've had at the back of the cooker for a while.
That's quite specific.
Yeah. Well, according to folklore writer M.A. Shieldhouse, if you want to attract a brownie to come help you keep your house clean and tidy, there are a few steps you need to take. So this is our guide, or at least
I'm going to take note of this.
Shieldhouse's guide to how to attract a brownie. Now, number 1 could be problematic at my residence. Your house needs to be tidy already. They are drawn to clean, organised homes.
Right, so they prefer maintaining rather than...
Yeah, than clearing up.
Clearing up, right, yeah.
I don't know if you ever do this. Like, whenever I've had
cleaning.
a cleaner come round,
oh yes,
you always clean before they come anyway, so it's fine, isn't it? Yeah.
My partner does that. I'm like, why are you hoovering? The cleaner's coming round.
Yeah.
Okay, but right, fine.
So if you want to attract a brownie, make sure your house is pretty clean and tidy before you start the process. You've got to try leaving out some food, such as a small bowl of milk or bread. That could attract them in. Once you've got them in your home, you've got to respect their space, Ben. Brownies like to work in the shadows, so don't try and spy on them while they work. They're shy creatures and prefer to be left alone while they do their magic. Bit of respect.
Mm-hmm.
Avoid offering them clothes, that's a given, unless you're in Russia, of course, and then you're probably all right. And for a long-time partnership with a brownie, stay humble, it says. Brownies appreciate modesty. Make sure your household is friendly and humble if you want to keep a happy brownie around.
Okay. I'm still imagining what clothes I could possibly offer. The closest I can come by is, you got that pair of jeans from when you were 20 that you couldn't get a foot in now. Maybe I could get that to the brownies because, that might be an appropriate size. But it feels like how big are they? I'm feeling like they're 2 foot high.
Yeah, that's my gut feeling, but they're just described as small creatures. I didn't find any kind of dimensions. I was thinking, in terms of the clothes, though, I've got at least one jumper and a shirt which was put in the tumble dryer at too high a heat, which I think would fit a brownie perfectly. So,
or did the brownies do that?
Oh, there you go.
You see?
Oh, okay. What, in a bid for freedom?
Yeah, well, it kind of... if we were to be given clothes, Master Peter, this is what we would like.
Yeah, that very expensive jumper that you bought is very nice.
We too like Tommy Hilfiger.
Yeah. I'm now trying to find a good brownie kind of brand. I can't think of one. Should we get some stories?
Yeah.
Brownies?
Surely there's got to... Because my favourite story was that one we covered with the boggart who kept making the milk go off.
Yeah,
So-
these are in that kind of folklore tradition. that
Okay,
I'm
this
gonna
is great.
tell.
I love these.
So one of the most famous Brownie folklore tales is about the Brownie of Fernden. I'm not going to do these with a Scottish accent because I won't be able to pull it off. This particular Scottish Brownie did not live in the farm that he served, choosing to live in a nearby ford in the River Angus Glen.
Don't live in the ford. That's actually in the river.
Yeah, this is what the story said. Maybe they meant on the banks of the ford, do you think?
Yeah, possibly.
So he had a short commute to work and diligently helped around the nearby farm, and he had a great relationship with the farmer and his wife. All sounded good, right?
I could just say, morning.
Morning.
Who's your friend? Oh,
Would be evening, wouldn't it? Evening, we're off to bed, you do your thing. Now, because this Brownie was so efficient and dedicated to his work, it began to upset the servants and farmhands on the farm.
because he's overtaking what they're doing. Or taking over what they're doing.
The servants were a bit lazy, and the Brownie often showed them up with how hard he worked. So the humans were also wary of this magical creature's powers and would avoid travelling through his glen when venturing into the village. But then when they got to the village, they just couldn't help themselves, especially when they were in the local inn. They spread rumours about the Brownie.
Uh-oh.
False rumours. He was the lazy one, not them. He was a terrifying trickster spirit, malicious and evil. That's the kind of rumours they were spreading around.
That's going to turn him into one.
Well, one day the farmer's wife got sick. She got so sick that the farmer didn't think she would last until the morning without help from the village healer. He would have gone to fetch the healer himself, but he was too scared to leave his wife in case her time came. One of the servants would have to ride to the village instead as fast as they possibly could. The farmer's wife's condition worsened. Help was now needed. But not one of the lazy servants wanted to head out in the dark to fetch help.
That is lazy.
Lazy. Because it also would mean travelling through the Brownie's den, and they might encounter the creature that they'd been spreading malicious gossip about.
Don't spread the gossip.
Don't. But the Brownie of Fernden was not at his home. He was hiding around the corner in the farmhouse, listening in disbelief.
Oh.
These lazy servants were wasting time while his mistress was close to death. He took matters into his own hands, Ben. He couldn't stand it any longer. He grabbed the farmer's horse, threw on a long cloak and a big hat, then set off to the healer's cottage.
I'm not a brownie.
When he arrived at the door, the healer looked a little confused at the short man shielding his face. The Brownie told her the situation and rushed her up onto the horse behind him. Galloping along the road, the healer was starting to worry when she saw the route they were taking. What if we meet the terrifying Brownie of Fernden? She asked. Well, she didn't know she was on the horse.
Yeah. She had a clock, but there's a 2-foot high dude in a massive hat.
The Brownie replied, I can assure you, madam, we won't meet any creature more dangerous than I am.
Uh-oh.
As soon as they arrived at the farmhouse, the Brownie jumped off the horse, knocking his hat off in the process. The healer looked shocked at the sight of him and asked who exactly he was. Why she hasn't got it at this point, I've got no idea.
My name's John Johnson.
I hope she's a better healer than she is a kind of detective. This short guy who's basically in disguise comes, sticks me on his horse, drives through where the Brownie
lives.
His hat gets knocked off and it's obviously a Brownie.
He's wearing a T-shirt which says, hello, I'm the Brownie.
And she says, who exactly are you? He told her that it wasn't important who he was, and just to see to his mistress as quick as she could. He called after her then, saying that if anybody did ask who he was, just tell them that she had ridden with the Brownie of Fernden.
You get a T-shirt for that.
Oh, I do hope she was a better healer than she was. She was a detective. Although I'm not sure she did, because the story doesn't say whether the house.
I was just going to say,
the farmer's
was she okay?
wife. Yeah, I know, no idea.
So basically, the story is a Brownie doesn't succumb to being bad-mouthed and still rescues the
Yeah.
woman that he's serving.
Yeah.
But
Very,
then
very
has to pretend
altruistic. Yeah.
not to be a brownie, even though he's obviously the brownie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
He sounds like a good guy.
He was a good brownie, right? Should we have another Scottish brownie legend? This one is from folklore Scotland, and it's about the Boghall brownie. Well, it's got good names, haven't they, these?
Very good.
It was the year 1850, and the Boghall farm, it was not doing particularly well. The farm had fallen into disarray. No trace could be found of its once neat and tidy condition that its workers had been so proud of in the years gone past. One winter day, you can probably guess, a good many years before, the brownie of Boghall had left without warning, and no human soul had seen him ever since.
Oh, so it had abandoned.
He was holding the place together and then
Right.
he left. But when the brownie did live at Boghall Farm, he would arise as the sun set and get to work sweeping, cleaning and tending to the house, whilst its human residents were fast asleep. In the mornings, he took his turn sleeping quietly on a bed made of straw in the corner of the barn. The Boghall brownie, like all brownies that frequent the ancient homes and farmsteads of Scotland, was a good-natured hobgoblin. Oh no, you haven't really kind of put them in the hobgoblin category, but there you go. Brownies are known to perform household chores whilst the humans are asleep, preferring to remain invisible and quiet, bringing luck and prosperity to the household. Gotta get me one of these. These sound great, don't they? In return, the brownies were rewarded with simple meals for their work, as they set to work for the joy of it and not in pursuit of a reward or payment. The Boghall brownie was a tireless worker, quick and efficient. All he asked for in return was a meal of warm porridge and fresh milk set aside for him.
It's not much to ask.
Oh, it's not much to ask, isn't it? He worked on the farm for quite some time, day in, day out, his working following the passages of the days, weeks and seasons, until one year a very harsh winter took hold of the land. A thick white blanket of snow covered everything as far as the eye could see, turning the surrounding landscape into an endless white canvas. The winter frost clung to windows, turning every hastily drawn breath into a cloud of mist. It was as if the great Cailleach herself had cast some wintry enchantment on the farm. So the Cailleach, I guess it is a hag that creates storms and extreme winter conditions.
Oh, yes, right, okay.
Now, the mistress of the farm, it's not uplifting, this is sad, this story. The mistress of the farm, worried about their precious brownie, whom she considered a friend, was anxious about whether he would survive the cold winter out in the barn.
Well, bring him in.
Carefully, albeit recklessly, she laid warm blankets on his straw bed, not yet knowing that such an act was an insult, not only to the Boghall brownie, but to all brownies in all of Scotland.
Oh, dear.
It's like giving clothes, isn't it?
Oh, dear.
It's like a clothes.
But surely he can forgive her because he's just trying to be kind.
You would think, Ben, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Upon seeing the blankets lovingly laid on his bed, the Boghall brownie laid down his tools and cried out. No one is sure whether it was in agony or anger. He was heard to tell, "To leave my old haunts, oh my heart, it is sair." I think that means broken, Ben. His heart's broken. "But the wife gave me blankets. She'll see me nae mair." No more.
Thanks.
I'm doing the translations that are going on. "I've worked in her barn, free, every evening till day. My curse on the blankets that drove me away."
Still, he had time for a poem.
And then there's this last bit. "All the boon that I asked were my sowens," which is food, "and straw." That's all he wanted. But success to Boghall, although brownies away. So the brownie's departure was instantaneous and devastating. Boghall was never the same again, was never happy and prosperous as it had been before the brownie left. As for the brownie himself, he was never to be seen again in Boghall. It feels like...
He's now doing some season in Southport.
Yeah. It feels like he didn't want to go, but that felt a bit more Dobby-like, that the act of giving him the stuff meant he had to.
It does. And, I mean, I get that that's the legend, but I still don't understand I understand it's the legend, but I'm still trying to work out why it's the legend. Like, what is so insulting about giving blankets? Where does that come from? Is it because if you recognize magical powers, that you're sort of opening the doorway to other bad things?
Yeah.
So the legend goes around. You don't acknowledge it because you might invite other things in. That's what I'm imagining. Maybe where this is coming
or
from.
even a bit of. This is a weird thing to say. Even a bit of, we have to keep this quiet because if everybody knows about it, they're all going to want one.
Or they're going to think we're weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. But I don't understand. I mean, it has to work in the story for the creature to be upset about it. But
maybe it's a kind of type of observer theory.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, if you start looking at it, it won't exist any longer.
Yeah.
I'm still amazed that he had time for a poem, though. I think if I was that furious, I'd probably
You'd just go, wouldn't you?
I'd just flounce.
Yeah.
I bet Brownies are good at flouncing.
Yeah, flouncing out.
It's a good story. Although I would say that just for a bit of cleaning up, the farm doesn't need to go to rack and ruin. See, that's the difference between the Germanic ones, where they actually seem to do some work. I was expecting him to be out like milking the cows and bringing in the crops, but
no,
he's just clean
and tidying, really.
Yeah.
I think they might wash a few pots and pans as well. Yeah. Well, Ben, it was this point in my research that I went back to my hunt to find modern encounters or signs of Brownie activity, because that's what always amazes me with these kind of folklore-y ones. You can, you can find stuff, but as I did, I kind of ended up on Reddit, and none of the encounters I read, it was like, I don't believe that for a second.
No, they're all attempts at like creepypasta type of deal.
Yeah. And we'll get on to a theory I've got of why that might be the case, other than that they don't exist, but I'll come on to a theory.
You have a theory why you haven't got any encounters with Brownies. But I think you're probably going to say that we're sort of denying the spirits.
I'm not, actually.
Oh, okay.
Well, am I? No, I'm not. But we'll do that at the end, I think.
Okay.
I did find on Reddit, I came across, so I didn't find any credible stories, but I did come across a hilarious thread which seemed to have descended into confusion regarding these creatures. I'll, in a bit of an Adam Buxton style, I'll give you a flavour of the chaos this thread turned into. It just really made me laugh as I read it. So the thread it was started by r/England, that's their sign, with the question, do people and / very fond of slashes is r/England, or children still talk about brownies? So they followed the question up with, I'm from the US, but my mum grew up in England, and she used to tell me stories about these little house people / helpers called brownies. I haven't heard anything about them, either in person or online since, but they did appear in a book I read once. I am just curious, are they still part of the folklore culture in England? Might be a stupid question, they say.
Oh, I know exactly what they're going to say. People are going to come back referring to the girl guiding type group that children belong to in this country.
Well, I thought the question did seem clear enough, right? But
yeah, it does, yeah.
And the first response was on point. So this one said, I think brownies are a Scottish / northern thing. They're little like goblins that come out in the night and do housework. You have to leave them little treats out for them, or they will get up to mischief. Subtle fun, posts, yes, they're a type of hobgoblin. I would say people probably mention folklore like them, or other beings such as pukas. They don't mention them as much these days, especially in cities, and probably less in England than in Scotland, Ireland, or Wales. So yeah, we're on point, aren't we?
Yeah.
There were a couple more posts that outlined the legend of these entities, but then things started to go awry in the direction you saw coming, Ben. Someone called Anne posts, I was a brownie as a kid. We got badges for things like learning to sew or helping people.
And being a goblin.
The next post adds to the confusion between the folklore creature and the Girl Scouts. I am on the border between England and Wales. I was a brownie, and then a girl guide. Apart from the cakes, those are the only brownies I knew. We used to work towards badges, and you used to sew them on your sleeves. Some girls had full sleeves of them. We had group leaders called Brown Owl, Snowy Owl and Tawny Owl. We still called Miss Snowy Owl by Snowy Owl until I was in my 40s.
Missed the point.
Tree Goddess then tries, I think, to get the thread back on track with, we've got a fairy at our house. Likes to hide things. The kids love her. We had brownies up north. I wish I remembered more of the stories or find a book about the whole lot of them. The thread then descends into some heated debate about whether the Girl Scout brownies, not the paranormal creatures, are originally from the UK and America. So there's a bit of forth on this. There's almost like these two conversations going on in the thread. And then 000119 gets a bit annoyed by this posting. They say, Brownies, brackets, Girl Scouts, were named so by Lord Baden-Powell. It's a British institution, originally not American. Electrical Truth then, I think, tries to calm down this heated and completely off-topic debate by posting Costco brownies. That's all I know. Kirkston then tries to bridge the divide of those talking about the human Girl Scout brownies and the original topic of the house elves with this post. Brownies were pixies or fairies when I was growing up in Yorkshire, although brownies were also the name of the girls' group. I haven't thought about the borrowers for a long time, but they came from a book written in the 1950s. I suspect the book was based on a much older brownie myth, and I remember enjoying them as a kid. The books were also made into an OK TV series at some point. So kind of trying to get us back on track.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's as if they forethought that we were going to do a podcast about it.
And finally, a Mango Xander sums up the chaos and confusion with this final post. I live in London and I'm very confused. Oh, I thought that was brilliant.
That is very good.
Well, maybe this confusion between house elves, brownies, and their human Girl Scout namesakes isn't so random after all, Ben.
Really?
As the Girl Scout brownies were apparently named after the folklore creatures.
Oh, I had no idea. I thought it was a complete coincidence.
No, in 1915, Lord Baden-Powell, who created the Scout movement, well, his sister Agnes suggested the name Brownies for younger Girl Scouts as the folklore represented being industrious, kind and helpful. Brownies replaced the unpopular previous name given to the younger Girl Scouts. At the time, they were called Rosebuds.
Yeah, that's a bit odd.
Yeah, doesn't feel right, does it? It wouldn't have lasted, the Rosebud, would it?
No, that is odd. I think, yeah, brownies is much better.
Yeah, so yeah, there is a connection there.
And it's cool to be a brownie, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, in terms of the chocolatey treats or cookies called brownies, there is also some speculation that they were also named after the busy house elves. Though versions of this mini cake likely existed before the first brownie was invented at Palmer House Hotel in Chicago in 1893, the hotel chef invented it as a kind of portable cake.
A portable cake?
Yeah, it's one you could take and, like, I think there was some big exhibition on in the city and they were like, well, we can't, have a big kind of, chocolate cake or whatever, so can we make something that people can just carry around? And that was the idea of the brownie.
Ask Lord Sandwich, he's got some ideas on portable food.
Yeah. Well, the original recipe included walnuts and apricot preserve. Yes, the person who came up with the idea with the chef who ran the hotel came from Scottish descent, and that's why they think they named it a brownie, because of that folklore connection.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, there you go. So it seems the house elf brownie, the Girl Scouts called brownies, and the cookies are after all connected. I'm not sure if I clear things up regarding the different types of brownies or make things worse, Ben.
No, I think I've got it. I won't eat a house elf.
No, don't get them mixed up. Yeah. Well, let's come back to this point we kind of were talking about a little bit earlier. It's often the case when we talk about these cryptids or fairy folk or, folklore type stuff, it is really difficult to find modern day encounters that are at least credible, right? We've both had that issue when we've been researching.
Absolutely.
Obviously, a skeptic would say this is because they never existed in the first place, or they were a way of interpreting something people at the time didn't understand. Like we did dinosaur bones sparking the legend of dragons, maybe.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Now, from a paranormal believer's perspective, when it comes to brownies, if they were a real phenomena, why don't we encounter them anymore, right? Why? I started to think, Ben, perhaps we do. If you take one version of the origin story, that they're connected to the spirits of our ancestors and deceased loved ones, maybe that is a clue. So I found a couple of ghost stories from psychic medium Katie Coots in her book, The Ghost Whisperer. Yeah, maybe these stories might give us a bit of a clue about why we don't see brownies anymore. So, in fact, this first story, Katie Coots herself acknowledges the parallels in a specific haunting as kind of brownie-like. So the story describes a session with a client called Caroline who had booked an appointment with the medium, right? So Katie Coots writes, I'm actually quite fond of this story, which is good because she did put it in her book. In fact, I only wish there were more spirits like this one. Even as I write it, I see shades of old fairy tales where certain castles had a friendly brownie or elf, and we all know what we can sometimes win brownie points for, don't we?
Being on cue.
Being on cue.
Yeah, right.
I think that late thing did deserve the joke. You can yes. Should we do that again? Even as I write it, I see shades of old fairy tales where certain castles had a friendly brownie or elf, and we all know we can sometimes all do with some brownie points.
Don't put that in the book.
Yeah, tidying up, she then says. Only in this instance, the lady concerned didn't have a brownie in her house. She had her husband, in spirit form, of course. Long after her appointment time with the psychic, Mrs. Ball finally arrived in a state of utter harassment. It was clear she'd never had a minute to herself. Bustle was all around her, and almost as soon as she sat down, I could sense two things. One, she had been busy doing housework right up until she left home to attend her appointment. And two, she had not arrived entirely alone. I sensed she had brought someone with her, someone who couldn't be seen. I felt quite sure she was a widow, and the spirit she had brought with her was that of her deceased husband. It seemed to me he was the most likely candidate, although I had no idea of the circumstances of his death, or indeed at this stage if he was in fact deceased. I knew only that this presence was male. However, the more I described him, the clearer it seemed to me that this was her husband. My client seemed a little sceptical, perhaps afraid to believe he was there. She clearly required proof, a fairly common reaction in some readings. So I tried to delve a little deeper to see if he could give me something so concrete that this poor bereft wife would know for sure her beloved husband was near to her. Were you ironing before you came out today? I asked, finding my question comical. Yes, she said, that's why I was late. Were you ironing a duvet cover? I asked, amused at what I was hearing. Goodness, how do you know that? But now she was becoming quite astonished. In all honesty, I was a little astonished myself. When you're dealing with the spirit world, you think the messages that come over will be earth-shattering. In fact, that's very seldom the case. And there was such ordinary domesticity about this one. I explained to her that I was hearing everything from her husband. Her face went several shades of pale as I continued. You didn't finish what you were doing, I said, quite clearly seeing in my mind's eye a pile of neatly folded ironing laying on top an ironing board. I then told her that when she got home, she would find the white duvet cover in her bedroom. I laughed as I told her not to expect the cover to be on the duvet, but that she would find it lying on her bed. That's impossible, she told me. To be honest, I felt a little unsure of what I was saying. Your husband is going to put it there, I told her, feeling less confident than I sounded. It's his way of letting you know he is with you. After discussing many other things, my client left, promising to phone me if what I had said about the duvet cover was true. Later that night, the phone rang. I recognised the voice immediately. It was Mrs. Ball. "I just wanted to tell you," she said. "I went home and it was exactly as you said. The cover was on the corner of the bed, not made, but lying there, ironed and folded away the way I had left it. I know for a fact that I left the cover on the ironing board." Mrs. Ball now had a clear evidence her husband wasn't far from her, something she so desperately needed to know. And in heaven, as he had been on earth, he was such a meticulous, tidy soul.
So he's exhibiting the values, or the attributes, I should say, of a brownie.
Yeah, tidying up.
But he's not manifesting as a small, dishevelled creature.
He's not.
But this is almost like helpful poltergeist.
Yes, you're seeing the story I'm starting to build.
Oh, okay.
Now, there is a second ghost story in the same book, which also felt a little Brownie legend-like. It involves what seems like poltergeist activity, actually, relating to a vase. Jane and her husband moved into their first home in the spring of 1997. They'd been married only a matter of weeks, and naturally the young couple were busy making their new house a home. Utterly exhausted one evening, the pair decided to have an early night. They both lay in bed reading, when out of the blue, an enormous thud could be heard from downstairs. At this point, the exact location of the noise wasn't clear, but as they tentatively descended the stairs, they were both drawn to the lounge. The room was the only one they had so far finished decorating. Jane remembers that despite the room being in pitch darkness, she didn't feel afraid. During a latter discussion, her husband was to admit to the same feeling. This was, of course, very strange. By all accounts, it sounded as if there was someone in their lounge, and most likely the candidate was a burglar. However, at no time did either one of them feel afraid. As Frank, Jane's husband, switched on the light, Jane was devastated to see one of her most loved belongings, an ancient crystal vase, lying on the floor. After an inspection, however, they discovered the vase had escaped the incident without the merest scratch. A miracle in itself, as the vase was huge and the thud they heard as it fell had been resounding. Still, counting their blessings, they replaced the undamaged vase and returned to bed. The following evening, Frank was in his study working, and Jane, weirdly, was ironing in their bedroom. And once again, thud. Both ran to the lounge and were met with the exact same scene from the night before. And once again, the vase was intact. Again, they replaced the vase and returned to their jobs that they were doing prior to the incident. The following evening, at the same time, it happened again. Assuming vibrations of some sort were causing the vase to fall to the floor, they decided not to push their luck. The vase couldn't possibly continue to fall and remain unscathed each time, so they moved it to a safer location. The next day was Jane's birthday. Frank sent her a beautiful bouquet of flowers, very fitting for such a priceless and sentimental vase. Forgetting about the 3 falls, Jane arranged the flowers in the vase and replaced it in its new location. 10 full nights passed without incident. After this time, the flowers began to die, and so Jane threw them out, washed the vase, and again replaced it. That evening, the vase fell to the floor, undamaged once again. At last, the young newlyweds began to think there was something amiss here. Really?
Only now?
The exact same incident happened night after night. Jane was so afraid the vase would break that she moved it around the room many times, leaving a cushion directly underneath. A few weeks passed, and Jane, as planned, bid farewell to her colleagues, and she began a new career elsewhere. She was showered with gifts, cards, and flowers. Arriving home that evening, Jane put the flowers in the vase. That night, nothing happened. In fact, the next 16 nights were quiet. The vase never once fell to the ground. The next time it happened was the very evening when Jane once again discarded the dead flowers. Becoming increasingly suspicious, Jane would alternate between having the vase filled with flowers and having the vase completely empty. I guess it was a bit of a test.
Yeah.
The vase was solid, a good weight, so she had ruled out the possibility that the weightlessness caused by not having the flowers inside it could be responsible for the continuous falling. When Jane related the events to her parents, she was told that the vase had belonged to Jane's grandmother, who in turn had inherited it from her mother, Jane's great-grandmother. She'd never met the old lady, but was told that she loved her garden, flowers and plants, and was more often than not seen out in the garden picking a huge variety of blooms that she had grown over the years. Jane and her husband were not alone in their new marital home, but they seemed to have a spirit with them, and it was Jane's great-grandmother, and her way of proving she was with them was to cause the vase to fall. Breaking Jane's vase wasn't her intention. She just loved seeing the vase filled with flowers as it was while she was alive. Jane now ensures the vase is never empty.
It's a little aggressive, but I like it. I like it, and I see where you're coming from. So it's kind of the idea would be, right, okay, so we need this filled with flowers, so I'm going to assert my abilities from the other world to do that. And I can see where you're coming from in terms of, right, I also want to see the front room clean. Yeah. So if you vacuum it every day, I won't cause havoc.
Well, to her it would seem tidy. So let me go through my thinking.
Right, yeah.
So if you think about it, we started this episode to try and move away from scary and malevolent ghost encounters, right? And we've said on the podcast before that ghost encounters that often feel less scary, even uplifting, tend to involve people reporting paranormal activity from a ghost that they believe are deceased relatives or long gone ancestors, right?
Yeah.
I'd say that's generally true, wouldn't you?
Yes, very much so.
And in those cases, often missing items are found, or prevention of something horrible happening.
Yeah.
I mean, we did one case where we covered a ghost appearing to a mother to avenge her murder, right?
Yes.
Now, there's two stories I just featured, the folding clothes and the vase that needs to be full of flowers. I wondered if that could actually tie into the Brownie legend. So the folklore states that they don't like to be seen, right? Maybe that's because they're not elf-like creatures like Dobby from Harry Potter. Maybe that's the bit that's been kind of added or, added on at a later date. Maybe they are the ghosts of our deceased relatives, as some of the legends say. And those ghost encounters do involve these spirits being helpful, right? Could this be the root of the legend of the Brownie, a version of the folklore here and in other countries that connects with being the spirits of our ancestors? And we don't get encounters with brownies these days because we don't think of them as brownies. Today, we will call them spirit encounters with a loved one or poltergeist activity.
Yes, I see exactly where you're coming from. Yeah, I like that. That's an interesting thought.
Well, it's just, the easy, with these folklore type things, the easy out is, it just didn't exist. You know what I mean? It's just some story that, kind of Hans Christian Andersen type or Brothers Grimm type tale. You know what I mean? But I always think something would have been the root of that, right?
Oh, very much so, yeah. Yeah. And it does go to, like, if your ancestors worked on the farm, they're going to do helpful things around the farm if they want to, if they are trying to do something for you.
Yeah.
So that does make sense. And maybe the opposite, the boggart, when you deny them or you kind of make fun of them, that's your great-grandfather getting annoyed, going, look, I'm trying to make myself known here, and this is how you milk a cow, man.
Yeah, not only trying to make myself known, I'm trying to help you here.
Yeah, I like it. I think you might have just solved brownies.
There you go. I've just sold brownies.
He makes it a bit spookier for the little girls who are brownies. Like, you are the spirits of your ancestors.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'm just getting a knitting bag here.
Well, either way, looking at the pile of dirty dishes in my kitchen before we came in to record, I think the idea of having a brownie I might have to kind of leave some stuff out and try and attract one in. Although I do need to tidy up first, so maybe it's never going to happen.
I mean, there is the other thing, as you say, returning lost items. That is something that still happens today. I mean, we've spoken about it in terms of the jots, but it is true that if you lose something, I mean, I don't know what, there is probably some good science around this, but in our house now, we just call out and say to the elves, please put those keys back where they were. Give it a day and they will turn up in the middle of the work surface. They'll turn up somewhere.
Really?
And it's not even paranormal. It's just, it's like one of our Patreons said about Vardigas. They're so common in his part of the world that you don't even think of them as paranormal.
Yeah.
This is so common to not just me, is it? I mean, lots of people will go, please return the keys, and they will come back. So I wonder whether that's a form of Brownieism.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it could all tie in, couldn't it? And if you think about it, if we go with the idea that it was never a creature that looks like Dobby from Harry Potter, it's more something that you can't see that seems to do helpful things. So, yeah, maybe the mythology of it came later rather than. Yeah,
no, I hear you. That is, well, I think you did well in bringing us into the light of the paranormal and a good explanation as well. I didn't think you were going to actually
try and solve a brownie.
Try and pull the threads together. Very good. I enjoyed that.
Nice.
Thank you.
Well, I do have a couple of great stories for our Patreon exclusive episode, Ben and Peter's Extra Scoop. I found these at my start of my journey when I was trying to find strange or uplifting ghost stories. They're not about brownies, but I will tell you about a ghost that haunts a hotel that likes to cuddle its guests.
Nice.
And a ghost that worked very hard to save a marriage of a couple who shared its house.
Oh, I hope. No, well, we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that in the scoop.
So you can find out about that at patreon.com/TQM pod.
Or you could click the link in the show notes if it's there. I think it depends where you get your podcast, whether you get the full show notes or not. But if you've got to give it a click.
Give it a click.
You get our normal episode a week early, generally. You get our exclusive Ben and Peter's Extra Scoop episode, access to the Discord server. What a lovely community we've got there. We have some really good chats. We also post other stuff in there as well. So,
and come and speak to our mod, Steph.
Yep. Here comes the mod stepper. Mod stepper. Brilliant.
Okay. Have you had too much chocolate?
Oh, I have had too many brownies. You've got to be careful when you say that. Yes, we will be back next week. Any ideas at this point? Are you still
to be honest, I was going to see where you were going because you did say last week you were going to do something helpful.
Yeah.
And I'm also fed up with the darkness. I have got a couple of ideas that I've been reading around. So I've got some more books coming, but I've got all next week off work, so I'm going to be reading these books at leisure. And rather than the normal, oh my God, I don't have an episode, I'm going to be taking it a little bit more leisurely. Have a little sip of tea, come back and read the book a bit, make a note. It's going to be good.
Nice. I look forward to that. Good. All right. Well, we will catch you next week on the Quantum Mechanics. Thanks for listening.
Take care, everybody. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Peter, have some socks.
Ben has given me clothes. Peter is free.